maybe we can go into the stand-up. Is that okay?
Oh, that's very sweet, May. Yeah.
Stand-up, we can do it in the sense of talking about, we've got some new volunteers. I don't know if maybe, I don't want to put them on the spot, but if you want to volunteer to introduce yourself, you can just put your hand up. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do that. Okay, right. We got, I love the Irish girls. Okay, let's start with Sinead because she's up at the top there. Okay, Sinead's learning about the mute button. So, okay, there we go.
I pressed the space button, but it didn't seem to work at that point. But
sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know. My name's Sinead. I'm one of the extern students from NUI Galway, and basically myself and Finola, who's kind of in the left corner for me anyway, we were supposed to come to Boston this summer, but obviously due to COVID-19, we're now remote working in Ireland, and we just really are thankful for the opportunity to help you with your project.
Let's go to Finola over there.
Hi everyone, my name's Finola. I'm the other. I'm here. I'm the other NUI Galway student. I just want to say hello and introduce myself, and I'm excited to start working on this project.
I'm so glad to have some Irish girls on here. It's great. So then we've also got, do we have anyone else new today? Oh, Jody over there. Hi, Jody.
Hi, I'm not in Ireland. I wish I was. I was supposed to be. I am in the Boston area, and I am going into my 4L year at Suffolk, and I have a lot of IT experience in my day life, so I'm here to help.
Well, we're very excited to have you guys, and thank you very much for joining the project. And you can see some people in here, but I'm sure that what we'll do is as we start working and we'll start introducing, we'll be aware that you haven't met everyone yet. Instead of having everyone introduce themselves again on this call, I'm very conscious of people's time. And so now I think the next step to do is just to check in with the people who've had some work. I think the last call we had was on Friday, where we previewed, basically for the new volunteers, we divided the Suffolk team into different groups, and they tried their hand at starting with a form and programming it into an interview. And everyone was very successful in the first week. It was really great to see. They put a lot of work in there. And each team had a different form. So it was quite interesting to see how it worked. And some people were in PDF and some people were in DocX, which I think, as Quentin will show you tomorrow, there's a difference in programming those forms. So I don't know if it's necessary to check in if anything happened between Friday and now with those different forms. Maybe what we could do is we could just have a show of hands. Again, I'll just wait. If for those of you who aren't on video, you can just do the thumbs up. I'll wait 5 seconds if anyone wants to talk about
what are we thumbsing up? Thumbs up means what in this
if you want to talk about the form that you've been working on, if you made any progress that you want to talk about. We won't make you show it if you don't want to show it. If that's something that was putting you off, you can just talk about it.
Yeah, Eleni fell for this one at the end of Friday's talk.
Same. Eleni was thrown in the deep end there, but you did so well, and she taught us some stuff that I didn't know about, so it was really great. Okay, so no one wants to talk about the things. Maybe what we can do is Teaching Tuesday tomorrow will be an opportunity to do that. I'm not sure if it will be, but Quentin, do you think that's we can review people's progress and stuff at the end of Teaching Tuesday?
Yeah. I think we were kind of envisioning at one point like there would be a before thing, but it could definitely be after.
Before works.
Before works, maybe, yeah, just because
quick.
They'll be independent, I think. So yeah, we'll do like a short check-in and try to save like 45 minutes for the new content.
Okay, that's perfect. That sounds good. Bless you, Eleni, by the way. Okay, so I think that the next thing to do is then to just talk about the project in general. And for the new volunteers, don't feel intimidated or anything if you don't know what we're talking about. It'll come to you relatively quickly. So the things to update on are the testing and the 209A, and we can see if we've made any progress in those two fields. David, I'm not sure if you want I'm just thinking now, if you want the volunteers to stay on for this.
So let's So we're going to do
Looking at
after the stand-up meeting, we're going to have our managers Monday for the administrative team to stick on and do some more planning. I think what we want to make sure is that people feel like they have actionable tasks to move to as they leave here. So I think that mostly means we need to figure out where the new folks are going to land. Quentin and I had some chats about that earlier. But first, I guess we could start with the existing teams if they believe they have actionable stuff to do that will keep them busy until tomorrow midday.
So you guys are still in your original teams from last week. If you feel like you have an actionable task, or maybe should I say if you don't feel like you have an actionable task, then you can put your thumbs up or just raise your hand. And I'll give you 10 seconds.
Are you asking if we don't have actionable tasks?
Sorry, Jody, this was for the people that were volunteering. So Jody, Sinead, and Nola we'll figure out, this is where we basically figure out what tasks you'll do. And I think that maybe David and Quentin will be better at doing that. So maybe I could hand over to Quentin or David. Maybe we get a form. Maybe they can be in one team.
Well, so yeah, Quentin, do you want to?
So we had two different things that we were just talking about this morning. So three different possibilities, which we might have to talk a little bit afterwards. So one is we have the three new folks joining one of the existing teams. Well, they start to get a little large at that point because we'll have two teams of four if we do that, which is a little harder to collaborate, I think. Another idea is to have some new forms and just repeat what we were doing, and we'll just be a week behind from the two people who started last week. And another option is to think of some other types of tasks that don't have to be working on creating a DocAssemble interview. Well, I think that's still like one of the higher value things that we need more folks doing. There are other types of content, things like maybe videos if people have that interest. So I know Mariah, who works with Caroline, did some really great videos for some projects that I had that might be useful here too, short 2 to 3 minute videos at most. Or other types of content that would be like writing materials that would go along with forms. Those are some of the ideas. I don't think we know for sure the best way to go. We probably should talk about that after this meeting to think about.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm also just conscious of the fact that Sinead and Finola are in a different time zone. So they're going to be 6 hours behind. Is that correct? Five.
Yeah.
So I think it's 4, maybe 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not GMT. GMT is 5.
Okay. But you're in a different time zone, so it will be a little bit difficult to collaborate. And I'm wondering if I was actually hoping to start on a new form this week and just try and move along with a new group of volunteers. So I'm thinking perhaps.
And none of these have to be permanent decisions, right? So the question is really, what's the most efficient thing for us to do right now, immediately leaving the meeting today? And then we might retask people as we go forward.
Yeah. Just trying to think. Have we assigned? Have you guys read the documentation? I mean, do you feel is that something that's been done?
So I think I'm not sure if they've done read any onboarding documentation.
Maybe that could be the first thing to do for today.
Yeah.
And then in our management meeting, we'll discuss the best way forward. And then, sorry, there's just a siren. So we can have a discussion on our management meeting, and then we can advise tomorrow or after the meeting if there's something else. Because I'm just, as David said, the most efficient thing to do right now. Does that sound okay? If
yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is that if people are going to try to get in something like the morning between the time between now and tomorrow is so it's probably the end of the day for people in Ireland now, but then they have all day until like 5 tomorrow before they meet. Yeah. So I want to make sure there's more than just reading documentation. That's not going to take all those hours.
So maybe it's
And
something
I
that we can
guess,
discuss in the meeting, and then
yeah, we could touch base back with you again. You guys could look for stuff to do in the morning.
on Slack we'll message you.
That sort of leaves, and Jody could check in this afternoon. I guess what I'm sort of starting to feel is, just given the time differences and stuff, it might make sense if naturally those in Ireland were on a team right now. I also kind of like the idea of you not being on the same team, which I think is where we probably want to get you, but maybe now for efficiency we start there. I don't know. I'm trying to gauge interest in. All right, seeing no expressions of interest or lacking the ability to read people's minds, if we have a simple form that we could get people started on, knowing that we're going to go into the DocX thing tomorrow for the Training Tuesday, maybe the thing to do would be to have the new fourth team, which would be Sinead, Verona, and Jody, start working on a bespoke interview, not from a PDF, but just from looking at a form, writing it up as a YAML file for DocAssemble, and getting ready then to integrate it going in tomorrow. I see Quentin unmuted, and maybe has better ways to frame that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'm thinking, and this may or may not end up being the form we stick with, but I feel like the next most useful form that's a DocX form is probably going to be, well, it's not DocX right now, actually, so that makes it a little challenging. Never mind. I was going to say the notice of limited appearance. That really seems like a critical next one for us to do, but it's a little bit more complicated.
Could someone just replicate it as a DocX file?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have done that, but then they changed the form. It took a while. It was a little tedious to do.
Yeah,
I definitely have a I have a DocX version of it. I don't know if there's like a problem with it because it is it's TurboLaw DocX version, so I don't know if that's like an issue to take another company's like it's like their product. I don't know if that's like a problem.
That's an interesting question.
Because it's like that's their
Edit this out of the
Sorry, maybe I should have said stop the recording.
No, I think
I don't think that's a problem because it's a document you're filing with the core. They didn't create. All they did is
they converted it to Word. They have their own fillable fields in it, probably that you would need to strip out.
Do you have their terms of service?
Probably somewhere.
Let's take a look at those.
Yeah, I'll find. I have to get into my remote desktop to my work to get it, but I can send that try to do that now.
Because my guess is they probably actually pretty openly say what you can do with the final forms. And so if you just had a finalized PDF, because we do not need any of their metadata or such that's associated. I don't know how they do things. So we just need a form perhaps that you filed with the court, and then we could use that as a template. Or you could redact a form you filed with the court, and we could use that as a template. I do not,
It wouldn't really
look at that.
So what I was thinking is that
have a real client's name, but it would be a form that was filed with the court.
I think Maeve is trying to say something for a sec.
Sorry, I think that maybe what we could do is we could drop the documentation for Sinead, Finola, and Jody. I know that Jody and I and Michelle are going to be meeting a little bit later as well, just to talk about something else. So then tomorrow morning, Sinead and Finola, they can have a look at the documentation so that what we've just said kind of makes sense, hopefully. And also you can flag questions with the documentation. Some of the documentation tells you how to get set up in certain things, and I'll be available obviously to talk about if you need any help, and I'll try my best, although we might have to defer some questions over to the more tech competent people, but at least I'll be there to try and figure out how to help you in the morning. And as I said, I'll be awake, yeah. And we will talk about specifics in our management call so that you don't get bogged down here. And we'll try and make it as easily understandable for you coming in as a new volunteer. And that applies to you as well, Jody. Obviously, we'll have our call in a little bit. So I think if I'm just thinking, is this too early to move on to management stuff? Is there anything else that anybody wants to talk about?
Let's make sure I want people to have an actionable. So if you're on an existing team, you know what you're doing, you're continuing to make progress. We're going to have Training Tuesday tomorrow, and that'll help with people who are doing bespoke docx files. If you're on the new team, you're going to look out for the documentation, read over that, and then we'll give you some more guidance so that in the morning you'll be ready to go. Jody will probably have something this afternoon to shoot you. So then you can start working.
When says look up, I think I'll drop it in your channel so that it's easy to access.
Sounds
good.
And it might be worth saying that the action item for tomorrow does not mean you're going to have to open the playground and start typing anything, because there's just thinking about the form and what it needs.
That's
think
true.
about the questions and that you would ask them. And it's easier when you can play with stuff and you've seen it. But I think even if you've never automated a form, you can kind of start thinking about how you would approach talking with someone to help them fill it out in person. That's basically what we're trying to replicate.
And I think we'll probably go with the form Quentin suggested, and we will, in the interim, decide where we can properly source a form for you. But we can give you the PDF version now, so you can think about the structure and the questions and the context.
And how you would be asking a client if you were to take them through that form, how you would be asking them, just apply your mind to it. So that's another thing we'll drop in the messages. And I think with that, you know, obviously we're available on Slack. So if anyone gets stuck in between now and tomorrow, then we can try and help you out in that sense. But I feel like everybody has an item that they can be working on. And if you don't and you didn't bring it up in the meeting, of course, you can just message us afterwards. Although I would encourage you now, if you don't have an item, just say something. Okay, I take that as a yes. I think that we can call an end to the normal meeting and we can move on to the management topics.
Right. So that means most of you can just get off the call now. If you don't know you're supposed to be, if you don't feel like you're supposed to be on this call, you can leave. Farewell. Thank you for coming.